Ska, ska, ska. Jamaica ska. But everybody can do the ska. It's the new dance you can't resist.
Whew. Whew. I'm feeling it.
You are.
Are you feeling it? You got it.
Oh, I should be showing off my threads.
Oh, yeah.
Threads.
Hello, everyone. Welcome
Hi.
to an episode of Crept From the 80's.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't
In the
a
90s.
well, but I
I know. I know.
We'll get there. But so this isn't technically this is not a Christmas episode, but that's okay.
If your name is Chris, every episode is a Christmas episode.
That's right.
Get it?
You can still there's plenty of this music within the Christmas. There's Christmas ska albums and whatnot. But anyway, today, folks, this episode of Crept From the 80's, we're gonna talk about ska and they're like click.
Yeah.
Nice. But they'll see it. They can either click on it or not. We're going to talk about our history with the music, but first we're going to talk about a documentary that we just watched.
Yeah.
Called Pick It Up, Ska in the 90s
Yeah.
by Pop Motion Pictures. And
It was a Kickstarter.
yeah, this was a Kickstarter. We had known about this as soon as it started.
Yeah.
And for me, it definitely was like a long time coming situation because throughout the years, I've always kind of said, man, I'd really like to do a ska documentary, or how come nobody's doing a ska documentary?
Remember, we did watch that Fishbone one a few years ago.
There's been ska documentaries,
Yeah.
but
well,
nothing
even these guys, the Siren 6, had a ska
comprehensive,
documentary.
something like that really like encapsulated
That's
everything.
true.
And
There was not one of those. Yeah.
so it was like, oh my God, somebody's doing it finally.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is, I don't know, when did they start? Like 2018, probably early 2018.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah. I mean, compared to a lot of documentaries, I feel like it's a pretty fast turnaround time. Because some of these things take a couple years to come out. And this, yeah, we probably heard about it last year. I don't know how long they've been working on it, but it just came out to buy 2 weeks ago, probably.
Maybe 3 weeks
3 weeks ago.
And so this was a early Christmas present for me from him.
I'm on the mailing list, so as soon as it came up to buy, I immediately, and then I texted all of our friends and I said, don't get Chris this. Not that any of them probably would have, other than me. But I just said, don't do it. And then he texted me the next day and he was like, oh man, the ska documentary's out. I gotta get it. Yeah. And I was like, maybe wait. Maybe don't get it right now.
Anyway, so we just watched it, and I have to say that I loved it. I thought it was great.
I don't know what our producer felt, but the guy in the booth was...
Maybe he appreciates a little more.
Do you like ska a little bit more now?
Sure.
Yeah. And hey, not everyone can be as cool as we are.
It definitely was. It took you back to that early 90s spot before the bubble blew, which is cool. And also just talking about like the people who are into ska for the most part, and that feeling of like camaraderie and like
acceptance,
unity. It is like that. It is like that. Going to, they said like, oh, going to a ska show, I felt like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is it. And I was like, fuck, man. Yeah. Like, that is what you feel like when you're into it. You know what I mean? Like, it is a really, that part was like the emotional part for me. I was like, oh, man, I miss those ska days.
And right before it started, I was like, man, I hope they tell you the history.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
did say
so people don't just think it's a music that was invented 20 years ago.
Right.
You know. So I was happy that they do go from the roots in the 50s
Yep.
all the way through.
Saying that ska's before reggae.
Yes, finally. There's a definitive documentary saying that. And when I've told people that throughout, my life, they've been like, bullshit. Like, whatever. Yeah, whatever. No, ska came before reggae. But it's all great music.
Yeah.
It's Jamaican music.
Yeah.
And boy, was this documentary Jamaican me crazy. With nostalgia and love and passion.
And Smash Mouth.
Oh.
I don't know why that guy was there, but...
Yeah.
it was... So, we've seen most of the bands in the documentary.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was, like, really neat to... And it made me think. That's why I said, I was like, man, we've seen so many of these bands, but they just... Each band that would pop up, or even a band in the background of, like, footage, it was just like, oh, we saw those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or, like, a flyer here and there that was, like, there.
T-shirt
We were like,
of a band that we saw,
Like, yeah, we really...
We saw Lost Ska.
We did it, yeah.
Man, if we could tell you guys stories in a video fashion about our times... Well, anyway.
We'd be doing that right after this documentary review. But it was really well put together.
Yeah.
I love that they got, like, other people sort of in the entertainment industry who also love ska, and we're talking about ska and their love of ska.
Seeing Matt Pinfield was cool. From
120 minutes MTV.
Yeah. Because that was one of the first...
Those old school days, the alternative...
Yeah.
It was 2 hours of alternative stuff that would play after, like, the normal
it was late night.
airplay. Yeah, it was sometimes it would start at
11
11 or midnight.
Yeah.
It was like the alternative answer to the Headbangers Ball, which was also on MTV. Yep. But which I also watched. And that's funny because, like, two musical genres who sort of will take in the geek and the not... The misunderstood.
Uncool kids.
Yeah. It was the heavy metal.
Yeah.
And ska, and I
Like
kind of fell into both and enjoyed both, being the weirdo that I am.
Yeah.
But so it was neat to hear all these people talk about that same feeling and that same desire to be accepted by like-minded folk. And I think it's like that with any of this geekery and the comic book scene.
Well, you have a whole channel devoted to it.
That's right. Crept from the 80's. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Not giving up on your past. And that was actually really cool. And maybe it's the people that they picked, or maybe they cut out certain people. I don't know, however it was made. But, like, everyone was saying, like, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, ska is not dead. It did not
ska
die.
was never gone.
Though,
certainly not for us.
No. Well, no. But, some of these people did sell out or fall off and...
Stop playing ska.
There's a lot of people that, maybe you're not watching this particular episode, but, like, so many people, to us, anytime... what's your favorite type of music? I say ska music. Whoa... Oh, I remember that. I'm like, what do you remember? It's still there. Like, it hasn't gone.
It's because most people
I know
totally were with
they're
that
in
trend.
They're in the impression that I get bubble.
They were in that trend, and then that trend died, so they were like, well, that music's over with.
Yeah.
Time to go do something else.
Yep.
Those are finicky
Philistines.
People who I guess maybe weren't finding their tastes yet, so they were just kind of glomming on to anything that was cool at the time.
Yeah.
But real music fans stick with the music that they love.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I think it's crazy that people sometimes don't recognize it, but that's fine. At least there's a whole documentary and a bunch of people who will buy this documentary who are just like us. If you're watching the documentary and you own it, you should probably talk to us. Because we'll talk about ska.
Yeah, we will. You can get it at www.skamovie.com.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I said that too when we were watching. Like, when I meet somebody who still listens to ska, I don't know anything about that person necessarily, but I'm probably like, you're cool enough for me to talk to. You know what I mean? Not that I'm like above talking to anybody, but it's like, I know that this person... Yeah, but if someone was like, hey man, my favorite band ever is the Slackers, you'd probably be like, oh, well, let me just kind of know a little bit more about this guy, because like, who says that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Or if anytime we see... It's weird. We'll see Skank and Pickle t-shirts out in the wild, which is really weird to me. But anytime I'll see someone with a ska shirt, every single time, we always go, hey man, cool, yep. Yeah. I'll go across the whole fucking grocery store and I'll see it, and I'll go, hey, I just wanted to let you know, sweet Bim Scala Bim shirt.
That is so true. Yeah. Like, and again, it's very much like that with heavy metal, power metal, and ska. Like, anybody that I see walking by, we've gone to so many fucking conventions throughout the years that anybody with a shirt of a band that we love or that's so obscure like that, we're like, hey! And then hey, you know? Yeah. They know. It's that...
You're in the know.
There was one dude I remember who...
Were we in line at John Carpenter and we saw somebody?
Maybe.
Anyway,
who knows? We saw John Carpenter.
Was it John Carpenter who had that Oingo Boingo shirt?
Well, I was going to say, there would be this dude at Cinema Wasteland every year, and he guaranteed he was always wearing an Oingo Boingo shirt.
Oh, okay.
Or an Oingo Boingo bandana.
Okay.
And I always mentioned it, and after a while he was like, yeah, Oingo Boingo, we like Oingo Boingo. Because I'd be like, ah! But it's just, because you don't see it often.
No, you don't.
But I remember at Celebration, Star Wars Celebration, the last one we went to, I was wearing
the 40th anniversary
this shirt, and some random like Star Wars dude like goes, "Hey, Skank and Pickle." Great shirt, it's a great band, like I was like, oh, okay, sweet, So it's cool. It's nice.
Very cool. Yeah,
you're in on it, But you're a fellow skanker. You're a brethren.
That's it.
Of the two-tone cloth.
But the doc, I don't know if it would get nominated for an Oscar necessarily. But it was
doesn't need to.
No, but I'm saying, like, in the sense of, it was a really good documentary. Like, it was well made. I like that they added animation. I like that they got a lot of perspectives. Like, it was just it was, like I'm saying, it's a solid... It wouldn't get nominated for an Oscar because it's not about, like, someone climbing a mountaintop or something, or a bunch of third world African kids or something. But as far as, like, sweet-ass documentaries go, and we've watched our fair share of those, it was a well-made documentary.
Yes. Yeah, it was... really good, and I wish they would have gotten some people.
Of course,
they can't get everybody. I mean, but that list is
it's a thick list.
It is thick, and some of them not to take away from other people, but it's just like some people should have had a little longer to talk.
Yes,
had a little more opportunity to talk about that particular band.
Like, don't talk to me about Knuckle Drivers as much as I want to hear about Skanking Pickle. Like, he didn't talk about any of his stuff at all.
I know, but I mean that's okay.
No, I know.
He was just talking about the scene.
But even Tim didn't talk.
I know. Well, that's weird too. But they did mention Rancid.
They did do a big
great
part on Rancid. Yeah, and Tim Armstrong narrated it.
So. Who started Operation Ivy and then went into Rancid.
Yeah, they did talk about that.
So. And Rancid plays some of the best ska punk ever
made. Yeah.
Ever. But I wanted them to talk with Oingo Boingo a little more. That would have been nice. And talk about... Because that's what started it for me.
Yeah. In the 80s.
And we'll talk about that.
In the 80s.
But, and I'm really sad that the Planet Smashers were not on this. And I don't know why. Because, at least to me, they're one of the biggest...
It's like if you're going to get...
third wave ska bands out there.
Yeah, like Tokyo Ska Pop Orchestra, and you're going to get some of the guys from, like, Mexico. Like, they clearly went
Yeah, you couldn't go to Canada.
You couldn't go to Canada? Yeah, like, so it was kind of weird that, like, that is weird. Out of all the bands, Planet Smashers played with almost every single band that was in this.
Exactly. And
especially on Warped Tour and stuff like that.
They started in 94, right when fucking Rancid was releasing Time Bomb on MTV and everything. And I don't know, but whatever.
For what we got a really good...
The doc was so good, and by the end of the whole thing, I was getting a little misty. I actually had to go to the bathroom to, like, wipe a little bit. Because it was bringing back a lot of memories, not just from my childhood in the 80s, but going into my teens and young adult years and what we did, because I did have a band and all the people that we've seen and played with, and just the music in general, the time of life it was.
Yeah. I remember there's a kid in the doc who talks about how, or maybe it was someone talking about when they were a kid, they put on a song, and he was like, everything's good, like it makes me feel happy and blah blah. And I anytime if I am in a really down mood, which isn't too often, but if I put on Pee in the Elevator by Planet Smashers, it's over. It's like, okay.
You pull out the gun and you're ready to shoot yourself.
And then that song comes on, and as soon as that horn section hits, you know the one. It's that I'm still here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's happy.
It brings
happy,
you up.
Happy music.
Yeah, so I don't know. I give it 5 horns up.
I'll take that. Yeah, 10 out of 10 checkered flags.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And
we got to watch all the...
I am going to watch...
all the extras.
There's over 90 minutes of bonus material here, folks.
So we didn't get through that.
So I'm going to pour over that.
It
it played throughout for about a year. It's played many festivals. It's played at...
It's played in theaters, right?
Oh, yeah, it's played... Yeah,
that's what I
and
thought.
It's won so many awards and everything. And
I couldn't remember that, yeah.
If you're a ska fan, and hell, if you're just a fan of music in general and you want to, like, discover different genres...
Or if you're, like, a 90s music person, like, and you're like, oh, I remember this thing that happened. Like, I think it's...
This is really only the best music from the 90s anyway, as far as I'm concerned. And it's not even from the 90s, but
yeah.
You get drift.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend it. SkaMovie.com.
Mm-hmm.
Go check it out. There's a bunch of different bundles you can get. I know Jump Up Records also has a VHS version.
Oh, really?
That they're selling, which is awesome.
Should get that. You know what it was? It was like that email came in, and I didn't even look at anything. I just was like, let me just get it. So it's here.
I think there's like a shirt.
It's a mutual.
A shirt
gift for both.
Blu-ray. Yeah. He kept the digital because he's Mr. Digital.
VHS would be cool to have.
He poo-poos on physical media.
Wow.
For me, physical media forever.
He'll be buried with that.
I will. I'll be buried with
on a 4K Blu-ray player.
So that was great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pick it up. Ska in the 90s. Great documentary. You filmmakers were awesome.
Pick it up.
We will recommend it to other like-minded folk. So.
Yeah, all 3 of you who we know who like ska, we will let you guys in on that one.
I'm gonna show my son that.
You think he'll like it?
Because he's such a music
stuff too.
Freak.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants to do and everything, I think. And I've played ska music for my son since he was in the womb. And that's no joke. We used to put the headphones in there and we'd play ska all the time. But he really enjoys ska.
He did skank out the womb.
Yeah. So I just think he might appreciate it. I really do. So I'm gonna...
I know, it's a good age for him to watch a documentary on ska.
Yeah.
What? Shit.
What the... Uh-oh.
I'm listening. All right. You want to talk about
back is breaking.
Histories of ska? That's fine. All right, cool.
There's some ska.
There's some ska behind us.
The Siren 6. Very short-lived, but one of the greatest ska bands in the history of music.
For sure.
Anyway, so let's talk about our connection, our love, our adoration, why we love ska so much. And do you want to go first, or do you want? I guess it should.
No, you go first, because
Okay.
like I'm jumping off of
The
your
side
train.
track
Anyway,
into
yeah.
Balkageville.
Side hedge.
So, I've talked about it before. Growing up with some wacky adults.
Yeah.
My mom and my uncles, the Seavers. They were very eccentric and goofy and weird, and that's why I am the way that I am. But my Uncle John and my Aunt Suzanne in particular, they listened to all sorts of crazy, awesome music that they sort of pushed onto me. So I would go over to their house, see my cousin Jess, stay overnight for weekends. I would kind of alternate. I would go to my Aunt Suzanne, Uncle John, and Jess's, and then I would go to the Bowkers, my grandma Bowker, and then I'd see these knuckleheads. Mm-hmm. And I would do it sort of off and on.
You're passed around, Quinn.
Yeah, I was yes. I mean, really.
I mean, you're a kid, man.
So this was the 80s, and one band in particular that they really loved was Oingo Boingo.
I would love to meet, like back in those days, like Oingo Boingo fans. Because I'm just curious, like what they, what do they look like?
Well,
They
I'll
look
show
like
you.
everybody, like look like us.
Yeah, I'll show you pictures of my Uncle John and Aunt Suzanne.
Yeah, is it on there?
So, I mean, obviously, we knew Oingo Boingo as a culture because they were sort of the soundtrack band.
Yeah.
And the big song that everyone knew, two big songs, was Dead Man's Party and Weird Science.
Yeah.
And I think I was probably the only kid who knew more songs by that band other than
those two songs,
yeah, which were all over the place. And that's because of my relatives. And so, not even knowing what that music was, and certainly Oingo Boingo they're all over, they're new wave, ska, punk, rock,
Not
they're like everything,
ska,
but they did a lot of ska.
Yeah.
So that's where I first really started hearing it, and a little later, I'd say like 89.
Like Madness?
Well, no, it was Fishbone.
Oh, okay.
Again, because of my Aunt Suzanne's sister, Jody, and their ilk, that group, listened to Fishbone and stuff like that. So I would hear it, but in 1991, one of my first like vinyl albums that was given to me on my birthday was Madness.
Okay.
And it was like a collection of their biggest hits.
Yeah.
But it had, Madness was a ska band. And they're still going strong to this day.
I was shocked that
those
song
knuckleheads
came out the other day.
Oh, no, they've been rocking it.
I mean, like, I just hadn't, I hadn't heard it.
Every year they do this big, like, it's like Mad Stock or whatever, something like that. It's like the Knucklehead Army or whatever.
Gotta do it, man. I gotta, like...
Yeah, let's go to England and let's
do
it.
Let's go.
So, Madness, I was like, okay, so these are the guys that
Did you know it was ska?
See, I don't...
You didn't, right?
No, here's the thing. Like,
you just knew it was like, this is
I
good
must
music.
have heard it.
No, I know, but I don't know if you knew
I must
the
have
term
heard somebody
ska.
say it because of my relatives. And my Uncle John was in a ska band. He was in a lot of bands. He was he would do whatever was cool. He played so many instruments. And in the ska band, he played the saxophone. So, to me, it was just weird.
That's what I mean.
Music that my, the Seavers got me into. It was just part of the Cars, the Talking Heads, Devo, all that stuff. I was like, this stuff is great. This is... So, but yeah, I don't think it was until probably 1993 when
Boston.
the Boss Tones were coming to Alfred State College, and they were it was Weezer and the Bosstones. And
what a mix.
We had it was all through I think going to our we had a store in Wellsville that's still there. It's called the Music Alley.
Oh yeah.
So I went there and I was I heard this band on MTV, and the first video I ever saw from the Mighty Mighty Bosstones was Someday I Suppose.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god, this sounds like Fishbone,
right?
And the Mighty Mighty Boss. I mean, Oingo Boingo and Madness and what is this? So it was Rick at the Music Alley who was like, "Do you like these ska bands?" You know, and I was like, "Yes, like okay, ska." Yeah. And he was the one who was like, "Oh, you know, the Bosstones are playing at Alfred College coming up." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Really?" And the tickets were $10.
Well, of course they were. They still are ska.
It was only $10, but for Weezer and Mighty Bosstones. Right?
Yeah.
So I bought every Bosstone album there, you know? And this was 1993.
So they were probably $20 a piece because at that time, fucking albums cost so much money.
Well, no, it was CDs. It was CDs.
No, I know. Well, that's what I mean, though.
Yeah, it was probably like $17.
You'd be like, $18.99 when I got the Swingers soundtrack.
Yeah. But some of those, because it was like smaller labels, it was only like $15.
Right.
So.
I
did
spending a lot of money.
I did it. And I was just, I mean, really, even though I had Madness, a new Madness, and I knew the song, the version that the Specials did of Message to You, Rudy, I knew that song, but I didn't get pulled into the two-tone thing yet, even though Madness was, and Madness really only had like one thing on the two-tone label, but and I knew everyone knew Our House in the 80s, but it wasn't a ska song. Right. It was because they would do mainstream stuff, but on those albums you would always hear ska music, ska tracks as well. But it was finally like that's what this is. Yeah. That's what my family was digging into, and that's what this whole music thing was. The Bosstones led me to so much more music, right?
Big time.
And I just started like looking up the genre, staying up late.
And by looking it up, people, this is zines.
Yeah, this is
magazines.
This was magazines, and this was music catalogs.
I was going to say music catalogs
at the place
at the
Music Alley. Yeah. And
no internet back then, guys.
So it was probably I kept I would stay up to MTV so that I could just in case
to record 120 minutes.
If there was other bands that were going to pop in, and
Suicide Machines had video.
Well, that was a little later.
Was it later?
That was a little later. The big one was Time Bomb from Rancid, and that was 1994.
Great
song. But by that time, I'd seen the Bosstones probably twice at that time. By that time, and then, so I wanted to. Oh my God, Rancid, Operation Ivy. You know, I was just I want it all. Yeah. I want it all. So I really was just going kind of apeshit. And I remember other family members being like, "What is this carnival music?" You know, it was just was foreign, especially in Wellsville. All right, especially in Wellsville, New York, where I was growing up. Like it just.
Oh, we're both of us.
It
Western
just
New York.
That just wasn't a thing.
No.
And then in '95, I started a band called the Swanky Modes, which is based off of a fake band from one of my favorite movies, Tapeheads.
You've talked about Tapeheads.
Probably.
Probably.
Tapeheads is an amazing movie from 1988. I love it. But So I was like, oh man, the Swanky Modes, that's a great, weird name for a band. And because I was making low-budget, schlocky, crappy movies and also loved absurdist comedy, again, thanks to my family and everything, I would write these gross, silly lyrics.
Sure would.
And I wanted to have a ska band, and it started slowly because we just didn't. Nobody knew what it was, and I other than like.
Well, it's like that doc, right? It's like you get the band geeks.
Yeah, but
Like-
but luckily my friend Michael, who was our drummer,
Oh yeah.
he was already sort of into the punk thing.
Yeah.
So he knew some of the bands that I was talking about.
Right.
So he got it, you know. So and to him and to actually most of the musicians in the band, they were just in it because we got to play.
Right.
You know, nobody else was saying. When really Michael's forte was heavy metal music.
Yeah,
he loved
yeah.
like metal music.
He looks like heavy metal.
but he
Yeah.
would play anything. It just
Yeah.
didn't matter because he was playing.
Yeah.
Like, so we slowly gathered an army for the Swanky Modes. And, yeah, we just plucked people from band at school, the horns.
yeah.
Funny enough, we didn't really have a real guitar player until probably a year or maybe 6 months into the band, because our first guitar player could barely play. He was my buddy Eric, and he just didn't, and he certainly didn't know how to do the
Ska dink.
the ska upstrokes, what I
Yeah.
called the dink dinks. I was writing this gross stuff, and our first singer was our buddy David, Dave Rashim. Well, we call him Rashim. His name was Dave Swigert, but and he just, you know, he was basically Dickie Barrett from the. He just
He's even worse.
yeah. Oh yeah, he
Couldn't
was,
even understand what
He was
saying.
worse.
At least Dickie, you're gonna mostly understand it.
Yeah, I mean, really, we were like a copy of the Boss Tones, but the music wasn't anywhere near the Boss Tones. It was badly played, and the lyrics were ridiculous. But we certainly dressed like the Boss Tones.
Yeah.
And-
All plaid.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
plaid.
yeah.
Had to wear plaid.
Yeah, the
Had to wear
ties
shirt and tie.
yeah, that stuck. The plaid left when we were just like, we aren't the Boss Tones. What are we doing? We're the Swanky Modes.
We really got to set ourselves apart, guys.
Well, I mean, in the end,
No.
we were known as like filthy ska. We were like
it was filthy ska. Yeah.
filthy comedy ska. Filthy comedy
True.
ska. So anyway,
I mean, you could do a whole episode on Swingy Mode.
yeah, at this time, we gathered the group and my friend Emily, who was Emily and Demetra, they went to high school with me.
Yeah.
And it turned out that Emily was like a hardcore like punk ska chick. So
Yeah.
she knew way more bands than I was even like regaling her with. She's like, of course I know that, you know? So she's like really like, oh, you got to listen to this band, this band, this
She was
band, this
good for
band.
that.
She was awesome about
Yeah.
that stuff. And then her and Demetra, they just became our singer. Well, you want to sing for us? Because Dave can't sing. Absolutely, let's sing. And they couldn't sing. But they yelled the lyrics, which was fine. But it worked. It just
Yeah,
worked.
it's fine.
It worked for what it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, so during this time, I'm also going over to Olean and hanging with my cousin a lot during weekends and whatnot. And I would take a duffel bag
Yeah.
of stuff, VHS, horror, whatever the hell it was, and music.
Yeah.
And I would just dump it out, and we would just listen to shit. So I started playing Oingo Boingo and all this stuff to Casey.
I think I listened to Boss Tones before, like at Grandpa and Grandma's house, though.
Oh, did I?
Because
I
distinctly remember the Boss Tones, and
Okay.
I distinctly
probably did.
remember you playing it, and then like because I'm an Olean and nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about, like not hearing it again until maybe you know what I mean, like seeing you again or seeing it in Clueless or whatever. But I do remember you like playing it and going, "What is this? What is this thing?" So yeah, I mean, the cool thing is, like, yes, you would bring over a lot of music, or when I'd go over to your house, I remember we had that party at your house.
But at that point you had already, I mean, because of that seed of me playing that music, you had already sort of, like, fallen in love with the music.
Oh, I had already done, like... Yeah, the cool, like, so in Olean, there's a really cool radio station, the St. Bonaventure radio station, down there, and they would play ska.
The Planet Smashers.
Yeah,
I remember you calling me up.
Yeah, so they would play ska all the time, and, like, I had never, so that song that I said, it makes me feel happy every time pee in the elevator, which is, it legitimately is probably my favorite ska song of all time. But I remember hearing it and taping it off the radio, because that was a thing you had to do, and then calling you and going, "Did you hear this?"
Yeah.
And
no cell phones, folks.
No.
This was pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Beep boop beep beep.
Yeah.
Or rotary.
Yeah, maybe mix. Yeah, but for me, I remember I have one friend who is super into punk. So he got me into like Blink-182 and stuff before they were cool, and like some other shit like that. He knew Real Big Fish.
Were they ever cool?
So like that was somebody that I could talk to. You know what I mean? And like a couple of my friends got into Real Big Fish, but it was after I was like, "Hey, this kind of sounds like that punk music, Bouncing Souls and all these other, punk people." I was like, "Hey, if you like that, you may like the ska version of this punk music that you're listening to." And a lot of them did. And then a lot of them stopped, at the end, after 97?
Like 98.
98?
It was gone.
After that, everybody just kind of like...
But not for us.
They went their ways, but... Yeah, so I don't know what time... When was it then that you would have started coming to my house? 96?
It was 96.
Okay.
It was 96 when... that's when you called me up and said, "Have you heard the Planet Smashers?"
Right.
But
I mean, like, I'm saying I had recognized ska, so I had to have been listening to ska before that.
Well, it was 96 though.
Okay. So it was all...
It was 96 really...
Like, oh my God,
I mean,
crazy.
95 I came over to your house.
Yeah.
But it was like early 96 when
Yeah.
we really started like getting thick.
Yeah.
Certainly with, because other than the band, you were the only other person that I could like manipulate to enjoy ska.
And here we are.
And we had the ska band. We had that band for 3 years. And we got to play with a lot of
Big
dope bands.
Yeah.
Became friends with the Planet Smashers.
Got on the radio.
Got on the radio for our number one hit, Transsexual Nazi Eskimo.
Yeah, that was a big one. Play that footage. Ska, like, it's weird because I don't know the times because we didn't stop listening to ska. And a lot of the bands that we like, so, Real Big Fish did sell out. Planet Smashers tried to, Boss Tones tried to, like, a lot of these guys did, like, Less Than Jake. But to their point, even the guy from Less Than Jake was like, we have a whole catalog of music that people like. We don't have to make new music. So, like, I still listen to, what is it, Losing Streak, as if it was 1996.
Pezcore,
It's all amazing. Yeah, so, like...
So, I think what's interesting in the doc, but and I guess as fans we saw it, because we were paying attention to what new albums were coming out, but there was this weird, like, you could tell when
It was late 90s, early 2000s shift.
when the mainstream was like, all right, ska's over with.
Yeah.
Is when these bands that we loved, some of them, their second or third albums would be devoid of ska. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, what the fuck? You know, like,
Yep.
this isn't right. This doesn't sound good. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's almost like they all kind of like had that moment in the mirror, you know, where it was like, what are we doing? What have I become?
Yeah.
And they're looking at their hands and they're shaking. You know, they had just like strangled a skunk or something. And then
It's because...
and then they're back.
Yeah.
And then they go back.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
like, what were you thinking? What were we thinking? You know, the bands, and then skabam, and they're back putting out ska albums.
The only album that successfully did it, in my opinion, is No Doubt. That sold out, stayed sold out.
Oh, you mean the Tragic Kingdom?
And got big off of it. Every other ska band that tried to do what No Doubt did, didn't do it. None of them. Not even close. Yeah. They were the only ones that, like, we left our ska roots and we're never looking back. Or as everyone else had that, whew, we really suck.
I much prefer...
Of course.
This is honest. I much prefer the No Doubt that was a ska band before Tragic Kingdom. The only thing I like on Tragic Kingdom is the beginning and the end of Spiderwebs. That's it. Because for me, I was like, okay, that's the No Doubt that I had heard.
That Different People song is a ska song.
Well,
And it has horns.
well,
And it is ska song.
well.
I like No Doubt. You know, I don't care.
I don't like their
I know
I
you
don't like
don't.
their music.
Yeah.
When they're not the ska thing. So when they did the cover of the Vandals, "Oi to the World,"
Oh.
I was like, see this? What? This is the No Doubt. This is No Doubt.
Was that after his Tragic Kingdom?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. Well,
I
it was like
couldn't-
maybe right in the thick
maybe it
of
was
it, or
right
like
in the
right.
thick
It was
of
like
it,
a
yeah.
year after. Mm-hmm. But it was their ska version
I remember
of "Oi to
that.
the World." I was like,
Yeah. Still listen to that. It's a good Christmas. It's on my Christmas ska album.
yeah.
Along
Real Big
with
Fish has
Reggae
a
Christmas.
Real Big Fish has a great Christmas album, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, the number one selling reggae artist of all time, Bryan Adams,
Yep.
has Reggae Christmas, which is
Yeah.
extremely popular around the Seaver household
I got you that too.
year round. Well, you got me the album.
Yeah, the album.
I've been listening to Reggae
No, I-
Christmas my whole fucking life.
Yeah, that was
Anyway, so those bands sort of like the ones who thought they needed to change to make money or to sell out, if you will, saw the error of their ways and then went back.
like
and,
every single one of them.
yeah, almost
so
every
weird.
single one of them went back. And
Less Than
then
Jake's the only one also that kind of...
Less Than Jake does a little bit of both.
Yeah. Goldfinger, they always were on the fence. Like, they would have a ska
True.
song and they would have a
True,
punk song.
that's fine.
And that's fine too.
But I'm talking about those albums where there was zero ska. In
Well, that Real Big
anything
Fish,
that they did.
is it the one that has a little
That
doubt
second
goes
one.
a long way?
Well, that's
It has those
that's
two
I think
songs.
the third. That's the third album.
And Boss DJ has 2 songs, and they're gold, solid gold songs.
And the rest is just garbage.
yeah. So
Just garbage. But now they are just
they're just ska.
they're just ska punk.
Yeah.
And that's what they do, which is great. But and then there's bands who sort of disappeared, sort of like disbanded, and came back.
Oh, well,
Like-
actually, these guys
Well,
kind of
they
did
came back for a reunion,
Yeah.
a 20-year reunion, which I have still sore feelings about this, thanks to his wife. But we could have seen these guys, and we wanted to see these guys, and turns out they played several times in a reunion, and now they're gone. But
They'll be back.
But I'm talking about the Suicide Machines, who sort of just left. They just kind of kaput.
Yeah.
And now they're back, and they've had like 2 albums out
Right.
or whatever. And
Right.
Bucko 9 left.
Yep.
They came back in the last couple of years. They've had 2 new albums
Yep.
or whatever. that stuff is cool, and it's ska.
The Busters.
It's ska punk. Well, yeah, I was gonna say like 2019, 2018. There's some great albums being released by some of these bands that we love.
Even Bruce Lee Band hasn't been around in a while.
Well, no, they always.
I know, but I'm just saying.
He does
like,
that though. He, it'll be the Chinkies, which is his band.
Yeah.
Mike Park's band. Come on, the Chinkies. That's his band.
Yeah.
Or Bruce Lee Band, and they kind of alternate.
Yeah.
Dan Potthast has been doing it forever. If he's not just doing it with Dan P himself, then he's doing it with MU330.
Well, that
and
last
he's doing
album is
with
one of my favorite albums. Of
the
whole
Bricks.
year. Yeah, I just love it.
And if he's not with the Bricks, then he's with the Bruce Lee Band.
Yeah.
So it's funny that most of the bands that we love are still out there killing it.
Yeah.
And they're still bringing in audiences.
For anyone who's watching this episode, I really, like we say it in every episode, but I really would like to talk to you. Because we just don't, like, we can meet a million people who know what He-Man is and know Lion-O and all those guys. Like, all the 80s stuff that we like, it's not too hard, other than, like, Kid Video. It's, like, a little bit more obscure, but, like, ska, it almost seems like such a hard, so many people are just like,
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of. I used to listen to ska.
Oh, I know.
I used to.
Yeah, so it's just
why
like
you stop?
I want to like it was cool. The Interrupters. We started in 2013. It's like
2011.
2011. Okay,
The Interrupters.
So
yeah, they're a fantastic. They're one of the. I mean, they're
really
so
great,
good,
man.
so good.
Yeah.
A killer modern ska band.
I would really like to talk to you about what you like.
Ska-wise?
Ska-wise,
you,
yeah.
if they do?
Yeah, well, they got if they're watching this episode and they've made it this far.
Maybe they don't know. What I've found, which is great, this is great,
People finding ska.
through us.
Well, if you watch any LBP movie, LBP, that's one of the things that is always a resounding thing when people would be like, what is that song that always gets stuck in my head? And who's that band, The Planet Smith? Like, so many times. So many times.
I also make comedy horror movies. I've been doing it for a very long time.
You don't know?
Very long time.
You guys.
And the majority of the music is always ska.
Yeah, 98%.
So I think it really is a unique thing for a Chris Seaver movie. It's what you're gonna get, and you're gonna get that ska, and you're gonna get the weird absurdity and shit, and it just somehow, maybe you might not agree, but somehow it works. And I've never thought it weird, to put a ska song into what is.
Well, there's many times I'll listen to a ska song and I'll be like, oh yeah, in that scene in the movie, like I texted you the other day or 3 weeks ago or whatever, and I was like, oh, what is that Mad Caddy song? Because I was thinking about this scene in Teenage Goes to Camp, and it was making me laugh, and then I had to get the song, and
yeah. So throughout the years, either at conventions or through letters or emails, fan interactions or whatever,
people write you letters
back in the day.
Oh well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't know if anyone is like.
They have. I've actually...
Mr. C.
They have. I've kept almost every letter I've gotten.
No, but I mean recently.
Really? Actually, last year, I was sent a letter and I still have it.
I mean, I understand.
On yellow legal.
Yeah, like you unscrolled it.
I did.
You got it off of a crow, and you read it.
I kept it.
But people will say like, "Oh, ska music," and
so I wanted to know what that music was, So I looked up certain things, and then I became a fan of this. I became a fan of this.
Yeah.
Because we became friends with the Planet Smashers and played with them a lot, and we would give them entertainment for their tours. So they would get Chris Seaver movies, and they would watch them on their tours on the road. So they always let us use. Anything. A lot of the ska people, Mike Park, many people would just let us use the music in the movies.
I think they understand because, they brought it up in the doc too. Like, it's not in a Target commercial. You know what I mean? It's not like for Bounty.
It's an underground do-it-yourself thing,
which is what they were.
And it's just getting the music out there.
Yeah.
So I would get a lot of comments of, "Hey man, this song, blah blah blah. Now I love this band." It happened a lot with the Planet Smashers. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh man,
Planet
now I
Smashers
collect the
for
Planet
sure. Yeah.
Smashers and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's unity through schlocky movies and music and
Yeah.
power and passion and skanking, skanking.
The passionate skank.
He was he became a member of the Swanky Modes as well, and he became our Ben Carr.
Yeah.
Ben Carr is the dancer for the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, and that's what Casey became.
Yeah. What's one of
Sometimes, Casey, you would even skank through diarrhea stomach.
Oh my god, it was one of the worst experiences. What was one of the best shows that you can remember?
For the Swanky Modes?
No.
Oh, that we went to? Or that I went to?
Yeah. You saw a band. What was like one of the tops?
I think, as we said, we've seen so many bands, so many concerts. One of the, oh man, there's quite a few, but the ones that stand out. And this is different because you and I have gone to different.
We haven't always gone to every show together. Is that what you mean?
Well, say like the Warp Tour.
Yeah.
So in the 90s, because ska was getting big, they threw on like almost. There would be a Warp Tour that was like
almost all
80% ska bands.
Yeah, that was.
So there was one. There was one Warp Tour where they had the Specials. They had the Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
Yeah,
they had Save Ferris. They had it was me. They had the Smooths.
Yeah. That Smooths album I still listen to.
It's a great
very
album.
regular basis.
Mighty Mighty Bosstones. I mean, it was the Planet Smashers. It was packed. It was packed. But being able to see the Specials was like,
that was like the last one.
I think the one you and I went to was the last one, where it was only like
a few bands.
It was Planet Smashers and like the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Yeah.
It was that Jackknife to a Swan album, remember? Where it was like, oh my god, Scott's
That was
back!
a great album. Yeah, they had gone away with their selling out BS, and then they came back. And it's a good album. I remember, I mean, a lot of Planet Smashers shows were fucking fantastic.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Remember when you and I went to CBGB's?
Well, I was just going to say that is in my top. So a lot of people have never gone to CBGB,
and we've seen the Toasters a lot. But this particular show at CBGB's in New York City, and I'd seen the Toasters at the Knitting Factory. I don't know if you were with me at that one.
For that one.
Okay, it was the Toasters and the Pilfers and a couple other bands at the Knitting Factory. But being at CBGB's. And this was the Toasters with, like, everybody. They had their organ player. They had, like, a full horn
section. If you have
section.
an organ player, you already know you're in for some shit. Because anytime... Like, they rarely do it. Not all of them want to bring out the organ player. But when they do, especially when the Planet Smashers do it, it's magic.
Or Rancid.
Yeah, of course.
But so, this show, it was just... special. And I don't know if it was because we were at CBGB's.
I think it's
because the Toasters were fucking on point.
Yeah.
Like, they just sounded so
good. It's
good.
also the acoustics in that place because, like, I still don't understand how CBGB, like, didn't, like, why couldn't, like, Green Day just go, here's the $4 million in back taxes or something. Like, it still blows my mind how it, like, went away. There must be some weird legal thing. But, anywho, that's one of the last things that happened at CBGB too, because it went away after that. But the sound was insane. I remember going into the bathroom. Do you remember this? Like, in the bathroom, it was like there was a couple urinals on the right, and in front of you walked upstairs and there was just a toilet, but there was no doors. It was just literally a throne, and like that was the room. And I was like, oh man, that would suck if you had to
and the whole
poop in
thing
here.
and the whole thing is just like history.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's just
like
it's wet.
The
history.
amount of bands that have gone through that place and legends and stuff that's written on the walls from these people, and it was just insane, and they were amazing. The sound was amazing,
and
You can talk about that. But it was so weird.
So before Toasters come on, they're like, hey, we've got this young guy. He's coming up in the scene. He's from Jamaica. You know, we want him to kind of like hype you guys up. And we're like, okay, whatever.
But is he from Jamaica?
He is.
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He's,
okay.
I don't know, white Jamaican. I don't know what he is. But,
Snow?
yeah, so he comes in and he's spitting, toasting.
Yeah,
he's doing with the Toasters. And nobody knows who this guy is. Whatever. And then they play and it's great. And then New York Ska Ensemble also played, which is great. And then a couple months later on the radio, we hear this song and we recognize the name, and it's Sean Paul. That was the person who opened up for the Toasters that night. And his music is obviously not ska and not even close to ska.
Well, he didn't like open up for him.
But he was like
played with the Toasters.
That's what I mean.
Singing and toasting with the Toasters.
Right.
It was very.
But then he left. I mean, like,
yeah, and then he was like
kind of
whoop.
opened it. But
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that was like one of those. That was one of my favorite shows. Seeing Big D and the Kids Table, because I actually really loved them.
Oh yeah, well we still love them.
Yeah,
I mean,
they still make
strong.
good music.
So we saw there was a ska fest, several ska fests at Alfred State College. How weird!
We saw the Slackers there.
Slackers. We saw Big D. We played there.
Yep.
For Skalloween.
Yeah. That was the
Which
show
is
I
when you got sick. I mean, I saw the Boss Tones there and Weezer.
Yeah.
But
Did you see the Boston's at Fredonia College too?
Yeah, we did. That's where
that was the Mud show.
Yeah, that was the Mud show. But I saw Mephistopheles at in Rochester.
Yeah.
At a Rochester Fest, and that kind of sucked because it was also like muddy and rainy, and people were assholes and shit like that.
I remember who was that band that was at Geneseo, the Blackouts. I mean, I know they weren't a big bag, but like,
well, they were
there
the
was some
Professionals.
small. Yes,
It was members of the Professionals, who was a Rochester band that we befriended, and
which was good.
their guitar player was also our guitar player, Pete, Professional Pete, love you, Pete. But
just saw
so many bands,
there's so many other ones.
Mustard Plug.
Yeah,
I mean, anytime we saw Mustard Plug,
Aquabats, of course.
Aquabats. We saw the Aquabats and the Planet Smashers together.
Yep, that was a dream come true show, for sure.
Geez, just a lot, man.
So it doesn't, it didn't die for us. It didn't just disappear. It, I guess like Amy Allen or Amy Interrupter said, like, it just goes in and out of mainstream. But these people are still making albums. Yeah. Some of them are even better than what they did 20 years ago. Like Big D's albums have been like,
and they still
better.
have big crowds.
Yes, they always have every time they have big crowds.
So it's, I don't know.
We haven't gone to a ska show in a long time though.
Well, there's a reason for that.
That's one thing.
It's
we keep getting older. They keep staying the same age.
Well,
the people who go to the show.
Yeah, it's like
the kids.
You don't. It's like you want to skank, you want to dance, but the kids that are going to these shows now, they just don't get it. They don't skank. They don't. So they mosh, or they want to start fights and thrash, and
yeah.
It's like, is it worth going to see the band that you just want to have fun and dance to when there's 80% fart heads who don't know what the hell to do at a ska show?
Right.
That
is a
that
thing.
Sucks.
Chris and I are ska elitist. I can't remember if that was the term, but like we're real like. It's got to be a vibe where we're the skanking vibe. Everyone's in it. Everyone's happy, and if they're not, then it's kind of like you just kind of stand back and just you enjoy it.
Yeah,
you
but
might
it's just
skink
not
in
as,
your own
it's
little
not as
circle,
fun.
but it's not as
While it's cool,
yeah,
you want to interact
It's
with
hard
the
not
band
to
and
wanna
skank,
skank.
and I know, but these
I know.
fart
I'm
asses
just
just caused issue, and it kind of came to a head. We went as adults. We went to this show. You remember
Mustard Plug?
It was Mustard Plug, and it was Voodoo Glow Skulls.
Yep.
It would have been an amazing show.
Yep.
If it weren't for the audience. I mean, the audience just didn't know what the fuck to do.
And it was packed, and you could tell who were the ska people,
Yeah.
and who were the just this is we're drunk and we're gonna bash and thrash and kick your ass. It just
Yeah, they kept chanting that.
no, but it just
Yeah, no, I remember.
it was just so like
Because you could tell the ska people wanted to just be skanking and being happy, and like they all kind of had to go off in a corner.
yeah.
But
What we need to do is go to like a ska festival and
Well, we
see
almost
how that is.
thought about that,
In
Portland. Or
Well, we still have some coming up. There's this the
No, I'm not
Supernova
saying
Ska
we
Fest
can't.
in
We
Virginia.
can.
We could do
Yeah.
that. That's in the summer.
We probably should just throw our own.
I wish.
And, like,
I wish
that's
we
it.
could. If we had the dinero, the greenback.
Well, these guys are
The
cheap,
gelt.
though. They really are. Compared to other bands, they're pretty inexpensive. Because I almost got the Planet Smashers to come, but, Another
stupid-
40th
my
birthday.
I'm gonna be turning 45 in a couple years.
I know. Maybe that's the one.
That is the one.
Any closing ska thoughts? Ska thoughts? Skadoinks? Ska's never dead. It never died. It lives on through our children. A younger generation.
You know your daughter's gonna be
Oh my gosh.
skankified.
Unfortunately for her
And not in a bad
friends.
way.
She's gonna be a skank.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just it's something. I mean, we listen to ska pretty much
I listen every day.
every day.
Yeah.
It is
It's like Star Wars.
yeah,
Like it really is like as far as like Star Wars for movies and that feeling, ska. And I love other bands. Of course
me
I
too,
do.
Me too. Not a lot. I'm very particular.
Yeah. But if you ask me again, my favorite genre is ska. And if I had to go and put all the bands that I like against ska, it's gonna win. Just because it makes me happy.
Yeah.
No other music like it makes me as happy and as like joyous and just like, you know what? Things are gonna be okay. There's no sad ska, right? There's really not any like maybe
No.
Slackers
I
got
mean,
a couple ones.
yeah,
like his,
listen, I
his
mean,
girlfriend left him or some
You
shit.
know, there's the political side of
There
ska,
is.
which is where it sort of grew from.
Right.
The Jamaican.
Yeah, but you listen to Bruce Lee band, and they're talking about homeless people not eating sandwiches, but it sounds so happy that
Yes.
it just doesn't.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, there's all types of ska out there. There's,
Yes.
There's different ska within the genre of ska, and there's also same with the lyrics. You're gonna get happy, goofy, weird, fun lyrics, and
Yeah.
you're gonna get meaningful lyrics with your ska.
Yes.
Just like you got your U2 out there in the real world, which I hate. I don't like U2, but what I'm saying, you got U2 and you got Weird Al Yankovic, and it's all
they're
right.
singing the same things, just in different ways.
That's right. That's right. So in the ska world, you got that same thing. You got, babies getting bashed in with boot heels and oppression, and you've got, sandwiches with mustard and cheese and
I lost my hat today.
goofy hats and girlfriends who turn into lesbians,
Oh yeah, that is a very common theme.
But it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. It makes you feel something. It's powerful and passionate and magical. Makes you,
Yeah.
as the old folks say, it makes you tap your toes.
I mean, I'll never.
Stick your feet to the beat.
I'll never not like ska.
No,
Can't even
No,
imagine.
it's
All
in
right.
the blood, man.
Yeah.
Scad for life.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
We got to get those matching tattoos.
That's right, Scad for life.
Yeah, right underneath our death from above tattoo from Starship Trooper.
Yeah. So that's it, folks.
Yeah,
That's
ska.
it. That's us talking about Pick It Up, ska from the 90s.
Yep.
Documentary, and our history.
Just a little
with-
brief.
Yeah, I mean,
Just a nugget.
We could probably keep going about what we love and our favorite bands and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Which we do have a bunch. I mean, I guess we can say a few. Who are your who off the top of your
Well,
head?
we already said Planet Smashers, Siren 6, Big D and the Kids Table. I can still throw in the Aquabats,
Still going
Mad
there.
Caddies, Smooths. I listen to Slackers Radio all the time now. Hepcat.
Who'd you got? Who else?
Ska Voovie and the Epitones, Bim Skal Bim, Pie Tasters,
Toasters.
Are you just saying favorites? I'm just throwing
Bands
out
we
names
love.
now.
No, bands we love.
Yeah, Toasters for sure.
Toasters.
Yeah.
Mustard Plug.
Yeah, timeless.
The Specials, Madness.
Yep.
Jeez.
I mean, I
Who
still
else do
love
we
Toots
love?
and the Maytals. I'll just listen to Toots.
Who else do we love? We love so many. Man.
Interrupters,
Well, of
Rancid,
course.
Tim Armstrong by himself, Dan Post Haste, MU330, Mad Caddies, Skankin' Pickle. Anything that Mike Park has done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Less than Jake.
Yep. Old ones.
Real Big Fish.
Yeah. Yeah. Real. Yeah. Duh. Real Big Fish, man. Jeez. There's a lot, guys, and they're all in this documentary for the most part.
Yeah.
So, but
The Swanky Modes.
Swanky Modes is probably number one. Please hit subscribe, hit the bell, but also write to us like what you're into ska-wise, or if you don't know, well, just take any one of those bands and listen to them. But we are more than happy to talk ad nauseum.
We'll
about
recommend some
ska.
bands, and if you know some bands, recommend
that we
to
don't
us.
know.
But
Yeah.
I mean, we know a lot of bands.
Yeah, Safe Ferris, Dance Hall Crashers.
That's right. I mean, they're everything. I mean,
Yeah, we
they're
know. We pretty much know all of them, but I mean, you could try.
Yeah.
All right,
So there you go.
cool. Yeah.
You know what we should go do?
Skank.
We should go skank while we're picking things up.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you can yell across the room to pick it up, and I'll yell across the room.
Yeah.
Pick it up. Pick it up. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.